Picture this. You're strolling along a marina, bright, sunny day, right? Water sparkling, boats bobbing gently.
Mm-hmm. Peaceful scene.
Now contrast that with this photo we have from our sources, a boat, just completely charred, gutted after a dock fire.
Wow. Yeah, that's
It
stark.
really hits home, how quickly things can go wrong even in a place that seems so calm. That potential for just massive destruction.
It's a powerful visual, definitely. And like you say, a potent reminder that, well, risks exist everywhere, even seemingly tranquil spots.
Right.
And that image just underlines why proactive preparation is so critical, which is exactly what we're digging into today.
Exactly. So we're doing a deep dive into an emergency training exercise that happened at Queens Cove Marina.
Okay.
And it was specifically designed to prepare for a dockside boat fire.
A very specific and unfortunately potentially devastating scenario.
Totally. The scenario they practiced involved a fire starting on a 40-foot boat, and this is inside a clean marine eco-rated facility too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, with about 300 other boats around. So high stakes.
Definitely high stakes. And the clean marine aspect adds another layer, doesn't it? That dual focus on safety and the environment.
For sure. So our mission today is really to unpack what a marina like Queens Cove does proactively, how they get ready for something like this. We're especially looking at that initial response by the staff. What happens in those first crucial moments before the professional firefighters show up?
That golden hour, or maybe gold minutes in this case.
Right. It's about understanding the key elements of being prepared and who does what to keep people safe and minimize the damage.
Yeah, because looking at a specific exercise like this gives us real practical insights. It's one thing to have a plan written down.
Totally different to practice it.
Exactly. Putting it into action, seeing what works, what needs tweaking.
So our source material actually lays out 6 core objectives for this whole exercise. Each one tackles a key part of being ready.
Okay, let's break those down.
First one, no surprise. Life safety. Top priority.
Has to be. Everything else is secondary. Protecting people, staff, boaters, visitors, getting them evacuated, preventing injuries. That's job number 1.
Absolutely paramount.
Yeah.
Then number 2 is fire containment.
Right.
So practicing using their own equipment, on-site stuff, really fast to try and limit the fire spread, in those early minutes.
And that initial action can make a huge difference if the staff can knock it down or even just contain it early on.
Buys valuable time.
Exactly. Prevents a much bigger disaster.
Third objective, environmental protection.
Connects back to that clean marine rating.
Yep. So the exercise specifically includes drills for containing fuel spills, runoff, stopping water pollution. It lines up with those environmental standards.
Which shows, a really responsible approach. It's not just about the boats or the docks, but the water itself.
Good point. It's about stewardship.
Mm.
Okay, fourth objective, emergency coordination.
Yeah, they link up with the pros.
Exactly. Testing their procedures for calling 911, practicing how they'd coordinate with fire services, police, whoever shows up.
Yeah, that seamless handover and communication are vital. Everyone needs to know who to call, what to say, how to work together smoothly. No time for confusion.
None. Which leads right into number 5, roles and communication.
Defining who does what.
And making sure everyone can talk to each other reliably. Using radios, alarms, the PA system. Clarity is key when things get hectic.
Absolutely. Clear roles, clear communication channels, everyone on the same page.
And the 6th objective is facility systems use.
Getting hands-on with the hardware.
Right. Drills on using the fire hoses, the pump, finding the electrical shutoffs, the fuel valves, even using the work boats.
That makes sense. You need to know how to use the tools under pressure.
Yeah.
It's no good if they're just sitting there.
You need that muscle memory.
For sure. And there's actually a sort of final objective implied too, right? Evaluation and improvement.
Oh, yeah. Good catch. The debrief process afterwards.
Right. Talking about what worked, what didn't, and then actually updating their emergency response plan based on that. Continuous learning.
Which is crucial. So that begs the question. Who actually does what in this kind of situation?
The specific roles.
Yeah. The exercise gets really detailed here. Leading the whole thing is the incident commander. In this case, it was the owner, John Swick.
Okay, so the owner takes charge.
Yeah, his role is all about overall coordination, kicking off the emergency plan, making those big calls, like deciding if it's even safe to try moving nearby boats.
That's a tough call. Property versus potential risk to staff.
Exactly. He's also the main contact for the fire officials when they arrive, makes sure that 911 call gets made right away, and keeps an eye on staff safety. He can stop any action if it looks too dangerous.
That's important authority to have.
Yeah.
And he leads the debrief, too, you said.
Yep. Shows that commitment to learning.
Okay. Who else is involved?
Then you've got the mechanics. They're designated as the fire suppression team.
Ah, makes sense. They know boats, engines.
Right. So they grab the protective gear, get the extinguishers, deploy the hoses. If it's small, they try to put it out.
And if it's bigger?
They focus on getting the Marina's fire pump going, containing the fire from the dock. And crucially, one of them breaks off to hit the electrical and fuel shutoffs for that slip. Fast.
Critical steps. Power and fuel off.
But big safety rule. They never go into a smoke-filled space. If it gets too bad, they back off.
Sensible. They aren't firefighters in breathing apparatus.
Exactly. Then there's the yard staff. Their role is evacuation and perimeter control.
Getting people out, securing the area.
Yep. Clear the docks, make sure everyone's accounted for. A couple of them might move adjacent boats with a workboat, but only if the incident commander says so and only if it's safe.
Again, that careful risk assessment.
The rest of the yard crew sets up an exclusion zone on land, handles traffic control, makes sure emergency vehicles can get in easily.
And they handle the spill booms, too.
Yeah, but usually after the fire's under control.
Okay, phase response.
Then you have the refinishers, the folks from the paint and fiberglass shop. They have kind of a dual role.
Oh, how so?
Well, because they work with flammable stuff all the time, they have good knowledge for initial firefighting. They can back up the mechanics with hoses, know which extinguishers work best for certain fires.
Like fuel fires.
Exactly. They might grab extra extinguishers from their shop, but then their role shifts to environmental protection.
Ah, the spill response.
Right. They get the spill stuff ready, deploy it with the yard crew, and they're aware of any chemical hazards in their own shop area, which is useful info.
Leveraging their specific knowledge. Smart.
And finally, the administrative staff. Their role in communication and coordination is just vital.
The nerve center, basically.
Totally. They hit the alarms, air horn, bell, PA system, whatever alerts everyone. They make that critical 911 call staying calm, giving all the necessary info.
Location, type of fire, hazards.
Yeah, and they stay on the line. Another admin person uses the PA and radios to direct people. Someone grabs the emergency response binder.
Which has the site maps, utility locations.
Crucial info. They also log events as they happen, are ready to call other agencies if needed, and have guest logs handy. Plus, they help compile the report later.
Wow, quite a range of tasks under pressure. It really shows how everyone has a specific important part to play.
It really does. And none of that works without the right equipment ready to go. The exercise highlights a few key things. Fire extinguishers, obviously.
Absolutely basic. Need them everywhere, and everyone needs to know where their closest one is. The drill involves actually finding them, simulating using them.
Building that instant reaction. Then the fire hoses and the portable pump.
Right. Practicing getting them deployed quickly, starting the pump.
But with that key distinction we mentioned, using water mainly for cooling nearby stuff, not blasting a fuel fire directly.
Critical point.
Yeah.
Understanding the right tool, or the right way to use the tool for the specific situation. They also mentioned using the regular dock water taps to wet down adjacent areas.
Carefully, though.
Very carefully. The caution about electricity and fuel is repeated.
Good. And the workboats.
Essential. Not just for maybe moving boats, but deploying booms, maybe even shuttling firefighters out if needed. They simulate towing a boat in the drill.
Which means those boats need to be fueled and ready, right?
Simple thing, but vital. Regular checks and maintenance.
Electrical shutoffs.
Yeah.
Hugely important.
Absolutely critical for safety. The drill involves staff actually identifying the master breakers for each dock, practicing the shutoff procedure.
And they emphasize the safety rules: don't touch wet panels, make sure no one's still plugged in or onboard drawing power.
Cuts the electrocution risk and a potential ignition source. Knowing exactly where those shutoffs are is key.
Similarly, the fuel dock emergency shutoff, that big red button.
Yeah, even if the fire isn't at the fuel dock, they practice hitting that button. Stops all fuel flow immediately. Precautionary.
Good practice. Belts and suspenders.
And just making sure everyone, absolutely everyone, knows where it is and how it works.
And for the environmental side, the oil spill response kit.
Yep, booms, absorbent pads, skimmers, ready to go.
And the drill includes actually deploying a boom around the simulated fire slip.
That hands-on practice is invaluable. Ensures they can do it fast and effectively if, God forbid, there's a real spill. Builds confidence and competence.
And finally, communications. They have multiple systems.
Smart. Redundancy is key. Telephones, backup plans for those.
VHF radios, monitoring Channel 16.
Standard maritime practice, good for talking to other boats too.
The PA system for mass announcements
And even an old-school air horn as a basic alert.
covers all the bases. Simulating using all these helps find any glitches in their comms plan.
Definitely. Okay, so we have the objectives, the roles, the equipment. How does it all come together? What's the step-by-step flow when a fire is actually spotted?
Right, the sequence of actions. Our sources map this out. It starts the second someone sees flames or smoke.
That instant recognition.
And the very first thing, not fighting the fire, it's raising the alarm.
Makes sense. Get help coming.
Shout fire, clearly, activate the horn or PA. Get everyone alerted before trying to be a hero. Those first moments are critical.
Absolutely vital. Okay, alarm sounded. What's next?
Call 911 immediately. Provide calm, clear info, exact location, what's burning, any known hazards. Stay on the line.
And they mentioned providing extra details, too.
Yeah, like telling the dispatcher the fuel dock is shut off, staff are using hoses, asking for the ETA of the fire trucks. Proactive communication.
Good stuff. Saves time for the responders. So, alarm, 911, then the initial firefighting.
Then the initial fight, yeah. The mechanics and refinishers jump in, but only if it's safe. Grabbing extinguishers, deploying hoses. The goal is containment. Keep it to the one boat, stop it spreading to others or the dock.
But they know their limits.
Crucially, they're not professional firefighters. It's a defensive action, buying time. They know when to engage and, more importantly, when to back off for safety. The drill even includes equipment failures to test that adaptability.
Smart. While that's happening, what are the yard crew doing?
Evacuation and security, clear the affected dock, adjacent areas, get people to the muster point, account for everyone, block access to the danger zone, make sure emergency vehicles have clear paths.
Setting up that perimeter. Land and water.
Right, and they even think about wind direction, maybe wetting down wind docks preventatively. It's quite thorough.
Very comprehensive.
Oh.
Okay, fires being fought, areas being secured. What about power and fuel?
That happens fast. A designated mechanic or the owner kills the power to that specific dock. Admin staff hit the main fuel shutoff for the whole fuel dock as a precaution.
Removing those major hazards quickly. And they practice finding those switches.
Yep, physically simulate it so everyone knows exactly where to go and what to do.
Good. Then the fire department arrives.
Right, and the exercise assumes a pretty quick response. At that point, the Marina staff shift gears.
Into a support role.
Exactly. Brief the fire chief, here's the situation, here are the site maps, here's what we've done, here are the hazards. Then they stand by to assist as needed, using their local knowledge.
Which can be invaluable to the fire crews. And they do a head count.
Yeah. Check everyone at the muster point. Simulate first aid for minor injuries. Still focused on people.
Okay. Fire's out, hopefully. What then?
Focus shifts to the environment. Spill containment.
Back to the booms and pads.
Yard staff and refinishers deploy the booms around the slip. Use absorbents to soak up any fuel or oil in the water.
Minimizing that pollution,
Yeah.
even practicing it in a drill, reinforces the importance.
Definitely. And the source mentioned past real incidents needing lots of boom so they know the potential scale.
Good preparation.
Yeah.
What about keeping people informed throughout all this?
That's ongoing. Evacuation and communication protocols stay active. Using the muster point, radios, PA system to keep everyone updated, accounted for. It's a challenge and chaos, so they practice different methods, even handling media inquiries.
Covering all angles.
Yeah.
And after the drill itself.
The debrief, absolutely critical phase. Everyone involved gets together.
What worked, what didn't.
Exactly. Identify improvements, fill out a detailed incident report. This is where the real learning happens. Refining the plan, maybe identifying needs for follow-up training.
Closing the loop. And ensuring they meet best practices, like for their clean marine status. They even plan follow-up training based on the debrief.
It's a continuous cycle, and woven through all of this are some core safety principles, non-negotiables.
Oh.
Like the absolute priority of life over property. Cannot stress that enough.
The foundation. Nothing is worth a life. Evacuate if it gets too intense. Safety first.
Proper gear, too. Using the right PPE, never going into smoke without proper breathing apparatus.
Yeah, even gloves and eye protection matter.
Yeah.
And understanding a dust mask won't cut it in a fire.
The dangers of electricity and water together. Big emphasis on why shutting off power early is so vital.
Assume it's live until confirmed otherwise. Even backup power on boats is a risk.
Fuel and explosion hazards. Training staff to spot warning signs. Keep a safe distance.
Mentioning gasoline vapors, propane BLEVs, those are serious dangers. Standoff distance is key.
Teamwork and communication are hammered home. the buddy system, clear radio talk.
Essential in a dynamic, dangerous situation. Keep track of each other, keep talking.
And acknowledging their limitations. They aren't professional firefighters.
Right. Initial response, containment, yes. But know when to hand over to the pros.
And finally, just promoting a preventative mindset. Linking this emergency prep to everyday safety checking wiring, careful fueling.
Because the best fire is the one that never starts. Being vigilant every day.
Our sources even include checklists they use, one for the actual emergency response actions,
Step-by-step guide for the heat of the moment.
and another for the post-incident debrief and reporting.
Ensuring they cover all the learning points afterwards. Tools to ensure thoroughness.
Yeah, structured approach for both the response and the review. Make sure nothing vital gets missed.
So, wrapping this up, thinking about this whole deep dive into the Queen's Cove exercise, what are the big takeaways for you?
For me, it's just the sheer level of detail and how proactive they are. It's not just having a plan on a shelf.
Right.
It's the regular practice, the clear roles, making sure the equipment works, and that constant feedback loop through the debriefs. It really shows a serious commitment to safety and environmental responsibility, too.
Absolutely. And, while this is a marina, the principles apply it everywhere, don't they?
Totally.
Workplaces, schools, even our own homes. Having
Yeah.
a plan, knowing what to do, it can genuinely make a life or death difference.
It really makes you appreciate the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, doesn't it? And places we just take for granted. Like a marina seems so peaceful, but underneath there's this whole complex web of planning and practice, keeping things safe.
It really does reveal that intricate network needed to protect life and the environment. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what other seemingly calm, everyday places rely on that kind of diligent, often invisible preparation.
That is a thought-provoking question to leave people with.